You ever hit that submit feedback button on an app and just wonder, where does that even go? Does anyone actually read it? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain on the secret life of your feedback. We're going to follow the wild journey from a simple comment all the way to becoming actual working code. Let's dive in.
And it all starts right here, with a voice, a real person with a real problem. A comment like this isn't just a complaint, it's a spark. This is the raw human stuff that kicks off a surprisingly deep and kind of cool process.
So, does this comment just disappear into some digital black hole? Nah, not even close. This is actually where the real work, the real magic begins. It all starts with trying to make sense of all this noise. Okay, so to turn that raw frustration into something a team can actually use, the very first step is just getting organized. You have to capture every single word and get it ready for some serious analysis. And that first step is transcription. I know, it sounds a little basic, but it is absolutely crucial. When you turn those recorded interviews into text, you make sure that not a single detail gets lost. Every little every pause, it all becomes a piece of the puzzle, a data point ready to be looked at.
All right, so with all the feedback written down and laid out, the real treasure hunt can begin. How in the world do you find the big, important ideas hidden inside hundreds, maybe thousands of individual comments? Well, you start looking for patterns.
And one of the coolest tools for this is something called Affinity Mapping. Just picture a giant wall totally covered in sticky notes. Each one has a single piece of user feedback on it. The real genius of this method, it lets the themes bubble up from the data itself so the team's own biases don't get in the way.
And the process itself is, well, it's beautifully simple. First, every single insight gets its own sticky note. Then, the team just starts grouping similar notes together, usually without even talking at first. The themes just emerge. And then finally, they give those groups a name and talk about what they found. So let's see how this actually builds up. We start with just one little note. One user mentioned that the icons were really confusing. Okay, that's one piece of data. Then, another note gets placed right next to it. Someone else said, hey, there are way too many buttons on this screen. And just like that, you can see a connection starting to form. These two ideas are kind of talking to each other. And here we go. This is the payoff. Those two little notes, once they were all alone, have now attracted other similar ideas and formed a clear cluster. The team slaps a label on it, UI simplification. All of a sudden, a bunch of vague complaints have become one clear, actionable theme. Now, affinity mapping is fantastic for quickly figuring out what the problems are. But to really get to the bottom of why they're problems, a team might use something more heavy-duty, like thematic analysis. Think of it as less of a quick brainstorm and more of a deep, evidence-based investigation to build a really solid case for a change. Okay, so having themes is great, but they're still kind of abstract, right? To make sure the team never, ever forgets the human being behind all this data, the next step is to turn these patterns back into a story someone can relate to. And they do that by creating personas. Now, a persona isn't just some made-up character. It's a super realistic profile that's built from all that research data. Its whole job is to stop the team from designing for themselves and instead give them a specific name and a face to focus on. So, let's meet Ravi Pereira. He's not one real person, but he represents a whole group of farmers who were interviewed. And notice his pain points. The small text, the slow network, those came directly from real feedback. So now, when a designer thinks, would this work for our user? They can ask a much better question. Would this work for Ravi? But to get even deeper inside a user's head, teams will often use empathy maps. And this tool is so valuable because it helps you explore that huge gap between what people say out loud and what they might actually be thinking or feeling on the inside. Just take a look at Sita. She says, I can't find the history. But what she's thinking is, maybe I'm just not smart enough to use this app. Whoa, she feels frustrated and worried. Suddenly, the problem isn't just a missing feature, it's an emotional barrier. And for a design team, that is a total game changer of an insight. Okay, so the team gets it. They understand the user's problems on a really human level. But look, with limited time and a limited budget, you just can't fix everything at once. So, how do you decide what to tackle first? Well, this is where the numbers come in. A single number, like this average satisfaction score from a survey, can be a really powerful signal.
I mean, a 3.7 out of 5, it's not a total disaster, but it's a huge flashing sign that says, hey, there's definitely room to improve here. It puts a number on that general feeling.
To get even more specific, they'll often use a prioritization matrix. This is just a way to rank every issue by its impact on the user versus how much effort it would take for the team to actually fix it. You're always looking for that sweet spot. High impact, low effort. And there it is, the verdict. The matrix clearly points to the quick wins, the fixes that are going to give the most bang for the buck. Improving search and simplifying icons shoot right to the top of the list. This isn't just a gut feeling, it's a data-driven plan of attack. So, we followed this whole journey, right? From one single comment to organized themes, from data to human personas, and from a giant list of issues to a clear set of priorities. Now, it is time for the final transformation. All of that work, all those sticky notes and interviews, it all comes together to create this, a clear, concise, and really powerful problem statement. See how it explains who the user is, what their problem is, and why it matters? This statement becomes the team's North Star, guiding literally every decision they make from here on out. So remember that very first quote about the text being too small? That single voice, now amplified by data and all this analysis, has been totally transformed. It's not just a complaint anymore, it's a clear mandate for change. So you see, it's not a digital void at all. It's a system that's designed to listen, to understand, and ultimately to act. It's a good reminder that behind every screen is a team of people just trying to solve a problem, which really only leaves one final question. Knowing the incredible journey your words will take, what will you tell them?